How we doing, everybody? And welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We are coming back. It is a Wednesday. It's a fantastic Wednesday. It's kind of snowing outside today. I was not expecting snow. It's snowing now. It's kind of getting still blood. It is still blistery out there. Oh my goodness, is it cold? It is just frigid cold. I did figure out though, it's a talking point. It is. Like you can just go on social media and be like, "Hey, it's this cold here today," and then somebody else is like, "Oh, it's this cold up here." I saw that we were colder than Antarctica today, or I think it was yesterday. We were colder than Antarctica. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
It's impressive.
When they tell me that those glaciers are melting up there, to send them down here for a day or two and then send them back. They'll be just fine. They'll be just fine if we do that. But hey, I got Kyle with me tonight here on the show. We got lots to get into tonight here. I got Kyle with me. Kyle, how we doing on this Wednesday? Haven't had you on in a while. It's been a hot minute.
It has been a while, but look, I'm good. You know, it was cold down here. Well, at least it was like south cold because I'm from Boston, so it didn't phase me as much. But had like an inch of snow, people freaked out. I'm just looking around like, okay, this is just the normal. Like, this is a light winter day of Boston, but you know, it is what it is. But I'm good.
I heard New Orleans got, what did New Orleans get? Like 10 inches of snow? That is ridiculous for New Orleans.
That's nuts, yeah.
Because they canceled the Bucks game for the night against the Pelicans. Yep. They were supposed to play tonight here, and it got postponed because of the snow. And I was like, "Are you serious?" And they're like 10 inches. I thought maybe like an inch, and everybody was freaking out. But 10 inches is more than we've gotten in Wisconsin yet. Like we don't have snow. I made the joke the other day. I'm gonna patent it because I made it up. I said, it's so cold up here, even the snow went south for the winter. Like, that's how cold it's been. And now it's snowing to the south. So it was true. Like, the snow is all moving to the south there. So it has just been ridiculous in the weather right now. But, hey, we got lots to get into. And there was, I mean, some good news for a former Brewer at one point. Well, for a short time, right? CC Sabathia into the MLB Hall of Fame, along with Ichiro Suzuki there, and also Billy Wagner got in his final year. I don't know what Billy Wagner did finally to deserve to hop into the Hall of Fame. They were just like, screw it, it's your last year. We'll throw you in there. Like, it's not like he played last year to up his stats. Like, they just said, screw it, now we'll throw you in, right? There's still a lot of guys who are well-deserving. I mean, if Andrew Jones doesn't make it in, I'm gonna riot. Yeah. I'm gonna riot somewhere. Like that would be ridiculous. A-Rod, keep him out of there. Like I'm good with A-Rod being out, but I mean, there's some guys on this list where I'm like, they gotta get in, right? Felix Hernandez, I feel like he's gotta get in. He's gotta get in at some
Felix
point.
was a beast at his like in his prime. Like, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I need my guy Petey to get in.
I could see it. I don't know why. I mean, Manny Ramirez. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Manny Ramirez get in there.
I wouldn't either. Like, he gets attached to the steroid era, but like what he got popped for was like some what was it, like estrogen type thing or something?
It was something weird.
Yeah.
But what he got didn't make sense in hindsight.
Yeah. Like you see Manny Ramirez hit, like he had a pure right-handed swing, came up with big hits. Like he deserves to get in.
I agree 100%. I just love seeing CC get in there on his first try. Like, that's awesome. I mean, well-deserved. Was with the Brewers in 2008 and was just dynamite. And you talk about a guy who was pitching on short days notice, like that was every 3 days. CC Sabathia was throwing for you, and he was giving you complete games. I mean, he threw what did he have for? I was trying to look up his stats just before there with the Brewers when he was here. Let's see, a 1.65 ERA. He had a 4.7 WAR, 130 innings pitched there in 17 games. I mean, that is ridiculous. Those are some ridiculous stats that he put up with the Brewers there. And just to get the Brewers over the drought, right? It was a 26-year drought for the Brewers before that, and he comes over, gets them in. And if it wasn't for the Players Union and the Yankees coming in and giving him more money, he probably would have ended up back with the Brewers because he loved it in Milwaukee. He didn't want to leave. It was just a factor of the Yankees came in, the Players Union got involved, more money was going to be spent, and, well, you can't deny a bigger contract according to the Players Union. So CC Sabathia ended up with the Yankees there, but he wanted to be a Brewer. I mean, he wanted to stay, and he just couldn't because the Yankees came in, gave more money and everything like that. But can you believe Ichiro Suzuki missed out on one vote to be unanimous? That's ridiculous. That
Yeah.
is absolutely ridiculous. One guy, who was it? That's what I want to know. Like, they should put them up there. Like, your
Yep.
ballot should be up there. Who voted against Ichiro to get in there, and where did his vote go? Was it for A-Roy? Did you throw it on A-Rod? Like, is that what it was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's like I know people say like you can't do that because these writers are worried about the backlash and threats and everything like that. If you didn't vote for him and you had a valid reason that wasn't like agenda driven, you should have no problem explaining yourself. But if you wanted to hide behind some agenda, like you didn't want him to be unanimous or some like frivolous reason for not voting for him, yeah, I don't want to hide too. Because the more people we find, if they do it agenda based, the more people will question their validity on the panel. And obviously these guys, once they like get on there, they're like on there until they die, and it's like prestigious to them. So I agree with you. Like, to keep Ichiro off your ballot is nuts to me.
Yep.
Like, that guy, like, for everything he did over in Japan, if you just took his MLB career, he was still Hall of Fame worthy.
Still over 3,000 career hits
Yeah,
just in the U.S.
crazy.
And then if you put it all together, it was 4,367 hits in his entire
Yeah.
career. More than Pete Rose. More than Pete Rose. And Pete Rose was a machine. And I am still not convinced that boy shouldn't be in there either, because that's ridiculous.
Well,
I mean, you gotta with him, you gotta separate the managerial career with the player career, because the player career is a no doubter. There. It's when he got into the manager, and then it was the betting and everything like that took it away from him. But that sucks. That one sucks to me, because did he really cheat like, you look at A-Rod, cheated the game. You look at other guys, cheated the game. Did he really cheat the game? Yeah, but not in his playing days. In his playing days, that was Hall of Fame caliber. That was definitely Hall of Fame caliber.
Well, I mean, the problem he ran into was baseball loves to make it seem like the Baseball Hall of Fame is like this pure sanctuary. So guys who did steroids, they automatically hate them. Guys who personal lives were a little sketchy, which Pete Rose falls into that. They want to keep them out, but then you'll look through some guys who are in the Hall of Fame. They're not all choir boys in there, but it's like they have a certain threshold. And if you go past it, they're just done with you. And I agree. You go through any other sports Hall of Fame, you'll find guys on there that aren't the greatest people, who are despicable, but they seem to put them in. Baseball doesn't do that.
I don't know. I'm looking at Shohei Ohtani right now, and I'm saying this guy's got a questionable past already for him. I mean, we got this whole thing with the gambling. I don't like it. I'm still not convinced that he's clear. I'm still not convinced.
That story came and went. So to baseball people, they wanted that story as far away from the sport as possible. So I guarantee you, if nothing else like that happens, by the time Shohei retires and gets ready for the Hall, you'll probably never hear that story again.
We got Bryce Harper over here making bagels on TikTok. Have you seen those videos of Bryce Harper? Like, he's concerning me at this point. I'm watching him and I'm like, why is he? This morning I watched him make, what did he call him? Like a Southern bagel or something like that. He's making it in front of him. I'm like, what is going, like, okay, like, if this is the path that you're choosing in life, my friend, this is the path you're choosing. And like, respect to you. And this is what you want to do with your time. But I was lost. I'm like, is this Bryce Harper cooking a bagel?
He looks like a guy who probably had like a niece or something go, hey, Uncle Bryce, ever heard of TikTok? And he was like, what is that? And then he's like, oh. And then he's like, I'm just going to film whatever. And it's just like, I get where your heart's at, but one, he looks kind of crazy in like most of them.
Those coffee ones, he looks out of his mind. Right? He looks like he's been doing something in the bathroom stall, and then he came out and he made this video for TikTok.
Which, I mean, hey, more power to him.
Oh, man. Oh, geez. So, yeah, the MLB Hall of Fame. I mean, Bryce Harper could be there at some point in his lifetime there, but right now, CC Sabathia, Suzuki, and Wagner all getting in there. I did see a list of guys who will be eligible next year, I believe, and the list is actually interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Braun, Cole Hamels, Edwin Encarnacion,
mm-hmm.
Alex Gordon, Shin-Soo Choo, Howie Kendrick, and Matt Kemp. Now, what makes it interesting to me is Matt Kemp and Ryan Braun, because the MVP, Bronny took it from Kemp, and then, the whole steroid thing and everything like
Mm-hmm.
that. And everybody's got their own argument on that one, and I'll stand true on my argument, but we're not going to have that talk right now because I don't want to have that talk right now. I still love Braun, but there's another guy, Ryan Braun. They're going to hold him out because of his PED use and what he did with them. Now, I've always said with Braun, I don't know why he used them. From what I heard, he didn't use them for the simple fact of getting jacked. He used it just to get healthy, which I actually, and I know I don't want to run long on this, but I was actually okay when somebody came out with an article and they said that players should be allowed to use certain types of drugs like our steroids to heal themselves faster, to try and get back to playing the game faster. Yeah. I was okay with that. Mm-hmm. Like if there was a way to regulate it, a way to control it, a way to test it and keep everything underneath wraps and control, I know it's going to be hard, but I would be okay with that. Like if that's the path that their doctor or whatever wanted to choose for them to get them back on the field faster, I'd be okay with that. Like I would not be opposed to that whatsoever. I get that there's a time and a place, and we'll see if the baseball or the NFL or anything gets to that point. I don't know, but I've seen people talk about it, and it said that it's supposed to work. If it did, why not? Like Mike Trout, get him healthy, keep him on the field. Like that would be huge. That'd be huge for the game of baseball, because I honestly forget when Mike Trout's even playing or when he's not playing. Like they told me, I remember, was this last season he came back for like a day and he got hurt again, or he came back for a week and got hurt again. It was like, I didn't even know he was back. And then all of a sudden he said, oh yeah, he's got a career or season-ending injury. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I didn't even know he was back for the year. Like, okay. So, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but that's going to be an interesting list, I do think, with Ryan Braun and Matt Kemp on there, just because they had that feud with the MVP when Bronny won it back in the day there. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets in, or if anybody. I don't know. Do you see anybody on that list who you're like, they're a first? I don't know if any one of them guys, because Braun, PED, Matt Kemp, he had a good start. Cole Hamels. Yeah, maybe Cole Hamels, maybe. But I don't know. Like, I see the guys who get snubbed out of the Hall of Fame currently, and I'm looking at his list, and it's like, I don't see a guy like, I don't think Edwin or Alex Gordon or Sinshu Chu or Howie Kendrick, I don't see a guy on there where I'm like, yep, like that's no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Cole Hamels probably gets the most votes out of that group, but like there's still names like we just mentioned, like Andrew Jones, who missed out this past year, who will probably get in next year, and King Felix will probably get a higher percentage. I feel like Pedroia probably gets a higher percentage. I mean, Pedroia Rookie of the Year, multi-time champion, batting champion, stuff like that. Like
Beltran, Carlos Beltran.
Carlos Beltran, I think, should get in next year. So when you look at the votes that those guys will get, the crop coming onto the ballot next year, I don't see any first ballot guys on there, but Cole Hamels should get the most out of that group.
Francisco Rodriguez, maybe. David Wright he's just got hurt all the time. He was cool. I mean, he was cool when he was healthy, but he just got hurt all the time. Chase Utley hurt himself in that slide that he had into second base when he broke Ruben Tejada's leg. He hurt himself right there. I think he hurt himself in the eyes of a lot of baseball purists. You're talking about getting pure guys in there. He hurt himself when he did that. I still remember that. I still remember that to this day, and they still tried to say that it was illegal, and it's that was bad. That was bad there. So we'll see. Ryan Braun going to get on the Hall of Fame ballot going into next season there. So, Kyle, I got you back finally. Oh, my goodness. It took forever to get you back down here on the show. But we got to talk Bucks, because we haven't talked Bucks in a while here. We got to talk Bucks. Currently, the Bucks on a 4-game win streak. They've won 7 of their last 8. Lost that game to the Knicks, where they got completely just annihilated once again. The Knicks have their number up there. But outside of that, I mean, it's a win against the Spurs in there. They got that win against the Magic. They've been putting together a pretty good run here. I mean, look at that Knicks game. Brunson just went off on them there. But Pelicans game got postponed tonight here. They have the Heat coming up next year if they get out of New Orleans there. I don't know what's going to happen there, because I heard that flights might get canceled and everything like that. So we'll see if they make it to the Heat, but probably, I would assume. But Kyle, I mean, looking at this Bucks team, we're getting closer and closer to that trade deadline. And I've seen the talks of this massive 3-team deal. And I just saw somebody report before. I don't want to get ESPN Plus, so I'm not going to look into that even more. But somebody did like a 5-team deal, and I'm not even going to look into that. But they're talking Bradley Beal to the Bucks. I don't see, and this is just my opinion, I want to get your take on it. I don't see how that benefits Milwaukee. Be honest with you, because Giannis needs the ball. Dame needs the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to add a guy into the lineup who needs the rock? He needs to have the rock 24/7. Why do you think they want him out of Phoenix? He doesn't fit the fold. You got Book, you got KD. You can't handle another guy who needs the rock. It's the problem of when you put together super teams. You need guys who aren't afraid to share the rock. Look at the
Yep.
Celtics. Look at
Yep.
Jason Tatum. Look at Jalen Brown, Porzingis. Those guys don't care. Jason Tatum doesn't care if he gets 20 and Jalen Brown gets 40. If they win the game, it's all right. Giannis and Dame, they'll share the rock. Sometimes I get a little irritated watching Giannis. He gets a little trigger happy, but other times I'm like, okay, sometimes you just got to go. Dame, same thing. But I mean, this Bucks team right now, Middleton, that's your big three, right? At this moment. I don't see how Beal gives you an upgrade. I don't. When you think like if you don't watch basketball, right? And I'm not going to say that I sit here and watch. I watch more college basketball and NBA. But when you don't watch basketball, you're like, yeah, Bradley Beal, that's a big time name. Like, get him to Milwaukee. That's a superstar. But then when you watch him play. He doesn't fit. He doesn't fit Milwaukee. I would honestly rather take Jimmy Buckets, if I'm going to be honest with you. I would rather take Jimmy Butler than take Bradley Beal. Because I just don't feel like when I look at the two, that Bradley Beal fits better than Jimmy Butler. I feel like Jimmy Butler would fit better in Milwaukee. Now, do I want either one of them? No. No, I'm going to be honest with you right now, and I'm going to let you answer that question, and I'm going to get into it. I don't think the Bucks making a trade right now is going to fix it. I don't. I really don't feel like there's one glaring weakness that you're going to be able to address. You might be able to grab somebody, sure, but I don't think you're addressing enough problems to get you past the Celtics, Cavs, Knicks. I just don't feel like you are. So, Kyle, I mean, do you feel like a Bradley Beal coming to Milwaukee? Do you think that's the fix? Do you think that's the fix in Milwaukee? You think it would work?
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of the same rumors that you have. I mean, I got probably way too deep in the weeds with some of these 4 and 5 team deals that are out there. So basically, from what I'm gathering, these moves give off the impression that the Bucks are kind of done waiting for Middleton to look like he did a few years ago. So if you're going to move Middleton, you're probably taking on somebody's contract as well. And if you look around the landscape, the two names that are out there are Butler and Beal. Butler wants to end up in Phoenix. If Phoenix is going to get Butler, Beal has to be on his way out. So Milwaukee probably thinking we'll get in on these talks because what I've seen is like Portis and Middleton are going elsewhere. You're bringing in Beal and I think a couple of picks, which the pick part like that pick does you nothing this year. Beal, if he's on the court, Beal can play off the ball. He can also create for himself when he's healthy. Problem is the past couple of years, you can't rely on him. And when I'm looking at the Bucks team, it's they need to get younger, they need to get more athletic. I don't think Butler, because I know you say you'd rather have Butler than Beal, but you don't want either one. I don't think Butler solves that. I don't think Beal solves that. So if you're going to get Bradley Beal, he needs to understand his job is going to be available when Giannis gets double and triple teamed and he kicks it to you, knock down an open three. If you have to step in a little bit, knock down jumpers for Giannis, you'll fit in perfectly. For Dame, it's like if Dame's getting pressured, needs another ball handler, Beal can ball handle, get the ball up the court, and then you can kind of operate your offense. Like, I agree with you. I don't like either one. But at least with Beal played with John Wall and played second fiddle to John Wall. So he knows how to play off of a superstar. Well, at least off of a star, because I don't know if John Wall necessarily was a superstar, but he knows how to play off of players. So that part, I guess I see that maybe being the appeal. And because, like I said, Middleton just has not looked right since he's come back to the point where they like benched him and they're trying him as like a 6-man type of role. That's what I'm gathering from this. It's like they're done waiting for Middleton. Maybe Giannis is done waiting for Middleton to be Middleton, and that's what's facilitating some of this.
Yeah, because I mean, you're giving him 31 mil a year. to give you this production right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep going back and forth with this Bucks team because I'm like, they're good enough to compete. I know
Mhm.
they can go and compete with the Celtics. I know they can compete with the Cavs or the Knicks on a good night, right? On a good night. When Dame's going and Giannis is feeling it and Middleton's healthy and he's playing and Brooks feeling it, they can compete with the best of them. I know that. They have the stars to do it. But in a 7-game series, I don't feel like they got the juice. In a 5-game series, I don't feel like they got the juice. I'm
Mhm.
looking at this team and it's like I agree 100%. They got to get younger. And I keep looking at it and it's like, when do you bite the bullet and just move on? Right? Start the rebuild. We keep living in this world where we keep resigning Giannis and we keep resigning Dame and we can keep spending this money out the door and we stay in the second apron and we don't have draft picks and we don't have this and we don't have that and we keep playing this game
Mhm.
and it's like, when is the point where we're going to get over that hump? You got what did the Celtics do? They rebuilt. They rebuilt that baby from the ground up. The Knicks have done well. Well, they got Cat now, but they've done well with trades and they've done well gathering guys up together, smaller contracts, building them up. Looking at other teams out there, even like the Nuggets, what did they do? They built that roster up. It's the teams that I'm looking at, like the Spurs. Look what they're trying to do down there. Or even a team like the Rockets. They're young, but they're building something. OKC. I mean, look how well OKC's done with draft picks. Now, I don't know if I want to go on a complete rebuild like OKC did,
Mhm.
where, I mean, they got first round draft picks for the next 40 years, it seems like,
Yeah.
through the
Crazy.
wazoo. Like, they were, I mean, whoever's the GM down there, I would hire that guy to be the GM anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere. You want to come be the GM for the Packers? You come up, man. Like, I'll fire Goody. That's fine. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not firing Goody. But, I mean, just looking at some of these other rosters, they're building it from the youth. And when I look at this Bucks team, I love AJ Green. I love what he gives to the team here. Looking at other guys there, you got, I mean, Andre Jackson Jr., great defender. I don't know how well he's going to progress offensively. He gives you a little bit, but not a lot. I love what he gives you defensively. He's got that grit to him. You need a guy like that. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm never opposed to a guy like that. Draymond was the same way. He's not a Draymond player, but he gives you that kind of grit, the defensive attitude versus having another offensive threat. So I like that. But I look at the rest of this roster. It's like Pat Connaughton not cutting it for you. Bobby Portis is getting a little bit older. He's giving you minutes. He's giving you buckets, but is he the answer? I'm looking. Is he slower? Is he good defensively? Can he get after guys? I look down this roster. Gary Trent, I thought he lost a step this year. I thought he
Yeah.
was going to be a lot better defensively. I don't know if he's what I thought he was going to be. I look at, I mean, I would give Ryan Rollins more time, but I guess, it's up to Doc, right? We're all faith in Doc at this point. Doc's not giving Ryan Rollins a minute, so that's whatever, I guess. Brooke Lopez, you have no big behind him. Not a big with athleticism,
Yep.
which I have constantly said is the problem. You throw Bobby in there, sure. Bobby can give you minutes, but he's not your big. He's not playing a big. He's
Mhm.
your power forward guy, and he's stepping in to be the side. I feel like this roster construction to me, their hands are tied. There's not much they can do. Like, there's not much they can do. They can sign random guys off the street, right? They can get it Dwight Howard or something like that. But what's that really going to answer your problems there? I look at this roster and I'm like, okay, we got Dame and Giannis, but after that, where's your scoring? Where
Yeah.
does your scoring come from? Because I mean, you even look at the stats here for this team. You work your way down. You got 31 from Giannis, 25 from Dame. Next highest score is Bobby Portis with 13. I mean, that's quite the dip off from top to
Yep.
bottom there. And then you look over at teams like the Celtics, and it's like pretty darn even across the board. Now it's hard to build a super team like the Celtics there, but the Bucks are kind of at this point right now where it's, where do you go? Where do you go with this? Because I come to the feeling of, at some point this thing's gonna hit a wall. It's gonna hit a wall. And then you're gonna completely strip it down and rebuild. Now the question is, do you have assets when you do that? So when is the point where you jump on it and say, it's not working? We're fourth in the conference right now, but do we really feel like we're fourth in the conference? Because when I look at the Eastern Conference right now, it's like, yeah, you have, I mean, the Cavs up top
Mhm.
there, they've been playing really well this season.
Yep.
And then you have the Celtics and the Knicks. You feel like you're better than the Pacers. You feel like you're better than the Hawks, the Pistons, the Magic, the Heat, the Bulls, 76ers, the Nets, everybody else. You feel like you're better
Yep.
than them. But you're stuck in fourth. You're stuck in fourth. You've been passed by. And that's where it gets to the point where you got to start trading guys for assets. You got to start moving on from guys, trying to build this thing back up. Keep your core together. I think you keep the core. Like, I'm good with keeping I don't know about Middleton at this point. I agree with that. I just don't know. They moved him out of the starting lineup because they're trying to get a cohesive unit. Doc's trying to get a cohesive unit, which I understand. Like, you can't have a guy consistently in and out of the lineup. You need consistency. So I agree with moving him out of there. But then what's a good is a $31 million guy coming off the bench. Yeah, he could be out there for crunch time. Yeah, but he's not you can't count on him, right? It's like the Packers with Jair Alexander. You can't count on him. You don't know. You don't know when we get to the postseason if he's going to be available, when he's going to be available. It's a day-by-day process. Right now, Giannis is day-by-day, but you know he's going to play because it's Giannis. But outside of that, I look at the rest of this roster, it's like, I got AJ Green. I mean, he can bang. We know that he can hit shots. He could fill in that Middleton spot. So why not move on from a guy like Middleton at this point?
Well, I feel like the problem you run into is because you won a title recently. So that puts pressure. You have a guy in Giannis. You're considered a small market in terms of the NBA. So the pressure is always there to constantly compete. Otherwise, there's the fear Giannis wants out. And look, we've seen the past couple of years, there's always that story before the season where it's like, does Giannis want to be traded and all that? We'll probably hear. I wouldn't doubt if we don't hear it at the trade deadline, even though we kind of understand Giannis is going to be there. But when you have a guy like Giannis, who I get the impression that Giannis feels like if he's on the team, we better compete because Giannis is going to go all out to win every game. He's durable. Even when he gets hurt, it's like he comes back pretty quickly. He's still one of the more athletic, dangerous guys in the open floor, which is why I kind of think if the Bucks decide to get kind of younger, they might be able to play a little bit faster more often, which would make Giannis even more dangerous. But this is kind of the team that they have. And I agree, like if you're going to bring in somebody, I'd rather see you bring in an athletic big.
Yep.
Because Portis on a good team would be a small ball 5 and like a bench 4, which is kind of what he is. But at times it's like he has to be the athletic big man between he and Brook Lopez. And Bobby Portis isn't the biggest guy, and he's not even the most athletic. So that's why I was saying, like early on, it's like any deal Milwaukee makes right now should be for athleticism and youth. Bradley Beal doesn't give you that either. But like I said, they probably look at it as we're paying Middleton this much money. He's not even a starter anymore. Why keep him?
Yep.
And at least for Bradley Beal, it's like, once again, if he's on the court, I would take Bradley Beal, the scorer right now, over Middleton. And because of Middleton's injuries, his defense isn't what it used to be. So he kind of loses out on that end as well. And just really quickly, like for Phoenix, if they do this as well, Jimmy Butler does not drastically improve their chances either.
No, you're flipping 1 for 1 at that point.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not changing anything down in Phoenix there. I don't know what the Bucks are going to. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, if they flipped Brook Lopez for an athletic big and got an athletic big out of that process there, I don't know if that would upset Giannis. Like, I love Brook. Don't get me wrong. I love Brook, but 12 a game right there for him. I mean, he's got 4 rebounds per game. What is he? He's a 7-footer who's giving you 12 a game and 4 rebounds.
Never been a great rebounder. I've never understood that.
Yeah. I mean, what is he giving you production wise? I think at some point we need to just accept that these guys, when it comes time, we need to trade them away. I get their fan favorites. I get that. But at some point, you just got to move on. And I think at some point here, you got to move on from some of these veteran guys and try to get younger, like you're saying there. A guy like Brook Lopez, a guy like Chris Middleton, see what's available. See what's available out there. Try to grab athletic big. Try to grab some wing players who can shoot it a little bit, but are also good on the defensive end. Try to grab somebody to put alongside Giannis and Dame. You know who your scorers are. Giannis and Dame are your big two. You need to just have average guys who can play defense, a little bit of athleticism along with them. I think you can find that. I think you can find that right now, and I think you can dump a little bit of the salary along with that and set yourself up a little bit better here. So, I mean, we'll see what the Bucks do. Trade deadline's coming up. We'll see what they do. They're going to be in action again. That's going to be tomorrow night against the Heat. We'll see if that game happens, if they get out of New Orleans or what's going to happen there. But We got to get to an ad break. We're a little past the ad break here. We're going to get to an ad break. Come back. We're going to talk about the Badger game from last night. They took on UCLA. Talk about that game. Hunter's got a hockey report we're going to get to. We got lots to get into yet. So make sure you guys check us out on the backside of the ad break.
This show is brought to you by these fantastic sponsors. Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in to see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville. Next, we have Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood. Have you been injured recently, whether it was at work, shoveling snow, or mowing the lawn? Stop in and see Chad at Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood. He will get you right, get you back to work, back to shoveling snow, back to mowing the lawn, doing whatever you were doing, feeling better than ever. And then we have Game Day Supply in Onalaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in Onalaska to help your team get the sweetest.
All right, we are back. I want to get to this Badger game from last night there because, Kyle, I don't know if you had time to check this one out at all, but I tell you what, when I tune into Big Ten basketball, I hate when I have to watch about 50 free throws be shot in an entire game, and a team's in the double bonus with like 7 to go. That absolutely drives me nuts. This game was so poorly officiated, it's not even funny. And the Badgers shot a lot of free throws. So you're sitting there like, why is he complaining about that? The Badgers shot a lot of free throws too. I'm complaining about the whole spectrum. I'm complaining about the whole thing. This was a terribly officiated game. And if you don't believe me, Badger enthusiast over there on Twitter, he's a fantastic. He always posts these great posts about Badgers and everything like that. Great page to follow there. But he posted a video today that I watched, and it was of the foul they called on Kamari McGee. And Kyle, you got to go. You got my Twitter. Go over on my Twitter there. So scroll down a little bit and watch that foul they called on Kamari McGee in this game against UCLA because he didn't touch him, and they called him for an and one on the foul. It was absolutely ridiculous, and that just sparks one foul. They had, I kid you not, at one point in this game, there were 7 straight possessions that the Badgers were called for a foul on, and UCLA went to the free throw line. 7 straight possessions. That is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. At some point in a physical game, because when you have a team like UCLA who plays physical, and you have a team like Wisconsin who's going into their place, you're going to get a physical basketball game. You have to bite the whistle. You have to swallow it for a little while. You just got to let the boys play. When it looks like a real foul, when it looks like somebody got completely obliterated, blow that whistle. Blow that whistle. But all night long, no offensive fouls, no charges, nothing. Not calling anything. Wisconsin would go in, they'd hit a guy, no call. UCLA would go in and hit a guy, no call. Late in the game, John Tonje goes in, puts his shoulder down, boom, charge. Blow the whistle. Perfect timing, right? Badgers trying to make a comeback. Perfect timing in there. It was, oh my God, whatever could go wrong, but that's not the reason why the Badgers lost. That's just what irritated me watching that game. Did you see that one over my Twitter there? Did you see that shot?
I did. Yes. Yeah.
That was ridiculous. He doesn't even touch him. If anything, if you actually watch, I think that was Mac who shot that one. If you actually watch his legs, he did something illegal in that shot. You can't kick your legs out. It's a rule in college basketball. You cannot kick your legs out. He kicks his legs out into Kamari McGee. So therefore, if McGee would have hit him, you could argue that should have been an offensive foul for kicking the legs. So, I mean, just a terribly officiated game. That's just one of them. That's just one of them. You go on Badger Enthusiast page there. He's got he went through every bad call from last night, posted all the videos. I mean, it was just rough. It was just rough all the way around. But, I mean, that's not the reason why the Badgers lost this game. That's just a pretty darn good reason. Right. I mean, UCLA was at the free throw line. They lived there. But, I mean, you look at this game. You have 2 guys off the bench for UCLA who gave them, 41 points? 41 points on the night there from 2 guys off the bench for UCLA. 2 guys who, you look at a guy in Ade Mara, who I am telling you now, he is going to be Zach Edey 2.0. He is going to be Zach Edey 2.0. He's going to get all the calls. He's 7'3". He's going to get all the calls. We're going to hear a lot of complaining. It's going to be a lot of complaining from me because he's going to get a lot of calls. He averages 5 points a game.
Yep.
5 points a game. And he goes out there and he drops 22 points against the Badgers. They just had no answer for him on the inside. They have no answer for him on the inside there. And then Sebastian Mack, I'm going to tell you this now. I love John Blackwell. Love him. He had a great offensive night. He put the team on his back for a little while there. Love that guy. He's going to be up there for Big Ten Player of the Year. I believe it. But I'm going to be honest with you. Mac was his daddy last night. That was his Mac daddy. He was all over John Blackwell. He had no answer to slow him down. Sebastian Mack was on a burner. 19 points in them 24 minutes. I mean, those two carried UCLA to the win. Carried them to the win last night. The Badgers did not help themselves, Kyle. 13 turnovers. And those 13 turnovers were costly. They were bad. They could not handle the press. They started out, again, sloppy in this game. It's same thing against UCLA. They had 3 turnovers in the first 3 possessions. This game here started out sloppy once again here. UCLA put the pressure on them. They were all over them. Wisconsin wasn't able to even get the ball past half court. It was disastrous from the start. And it just went like that throughout the game. There was moments where UCLA would dial up the pressure. Wisconsin would turn the basketball over. It was just that kind of game. You go on the road in the Big Ten. You go on the road to UCLA in a physical environment where the refs are calling like they were. You turn the basketball over 13 times, you're going to lose that game. The biggest one of the swing of the game was, though, the intentional foul they called on Wisconsin going into the half. Wisconsin was up 9. They were up big. They at one point, I felt like they could have pulled away. It felt like they were pulling away. And there was a 4-point swing going in the half. Jack Janicki, Wisconsin had fouls give. Jack Janicki, guy got past him. He reached in, grabbed the ball, was reaching for the ball there. They called him for a clear path foul, gave him the intentional foul there, got the shot, got the 2 free throws there, and then they got the ball back, ended up scoring 2 more there. 4-point swing heading into the half. All momentum was in Wisconsin's favor. It flipped back going to that second half there. And it was just, I mean, you think about the game, ended up as a 2-point ball game there late. That's 4-point swing going in the half is huge. That's huge in a game like this. So that definitely hurt there. Looking across the board, though. Turnovers killed you. Only 3 steals, too. I mean, you talk about a team in Wisconsin who you look at it, UCLA, they had 6 steals in this game, 3 for the Badgers there. UCLA only turned the ball over 7 times. 7 times in this game. So there's your difference, is the turnover battle. And you cannot lose a turnover, especially on the road. We talked about it. Absolutely. On the road in the Big Ten, you cannot lose a turnover battle, and that's exactly what the Badgers did. I mean, you look at the box though. If I didn't give you the final score, I just told you Wisconsin shot 25 for 49 from the field, 51%. They shot 15 for 30 from downtown, hit 50% of their threes, and they hit 18 for 21 at the free throw line. I don't think you would tell me the Badgers lost that game. I don't think anybody would have told me that. Defensively, the Badgers struggled. And like I said, it was a big fella, and it was slowing down Mac. 2 answers that they could not get. And that was I don't know. I wanted to say that's on Greg Gard. I'll be honest with you. Because I just mentioned it. John Blackwell is getting owned by Sebastian Mack. He was getting completely torched. Switch John Tonje onto him. I don't care who Tonje's guarding right then. I don't care. He's not torching you. Put Tonje onto Sebastian Mack and just let him ride. Because at that moment, John Blackwell could not defend him. He could not defend him. And you were just hurting yourself by leaving him on there. And I get, you're like, oh, well, he's going to figure it out, right? John Blackwell's a big guy. He can figure it out. He didn't. So at some point as a head coach, you just got to stop it. And you got to say, okay, John, switch over on him. Switch over on Mack. John, you take this guy. We'll be fine. And let's just roll with it. No switches. They just left Blackwell on an island and just said, figure it out, dude. Just figure it out. And then late in the game, tried to get another stop there. Ended up getting a foul called on him on a blocking foul. I mean, I didn't agree with the call, but, they were calling it ticky-tack all night, so that's what you were going to get there. So, I mean, just those little things throughout this game. And I really did. I thought back to Gard, and I was like, dude, you got to, as a head coach, you see a guy's getting owned by another guard, you got to switch. You got to try something else. And Morrow was beating you up on the inside. You got to talk to Crowley. You got to figure out something defensively that you can do to slow down the big fella. I know it's tough. He's 7'3", but you got to find a way. You have to. And I just feel like the Badgers didn't adjust to the second half. First half, they were fine. I mean, you're talking about they're up by 5 at the half, up by 9 without that 4-point swing. They were feeling fine. It's just in that second half, they did not have the answers defensively. And I thought that's where they hurt themselves here. It's all those little things that we talked about with Badgers in the past, the slow starts, the sloppy starts that they've had, that they've been able to overcome. But the turnovers will kill you night in and night out. And I mean, man, oh man, it's rough. It's rough. Everything that could have went wrong outside of scoring. They put buckets up. I mean,
Mhm.
50% across the board and 85% for the free throw line. It's like scoring wasn't the problem. Most of the time, you put up 83 points, you ain't going to lose a basketball game. It's just
Exactly.
UCLA had a good night. They had a good night. Two
Mhm.
guys off the bench had a fantastic night. And
Mhm.
that's what we saw there. I mean, John Tonje, though, he went on a burner. He had 0 points against USC. And I full-heartedly believe Greg Gard must have said something post-game like he did against Stephen Crowell there because he was unconscious from 3. He started out the game, I believe he's 5 for 5 to start the game there. 6 for 7 from downtown, hit one late there, 8 for 9 from the field. He went away, though. He went away. And that's what, in this Wisconsin offense, which, I mean, yes, defensively, UCLA did some things to the Badgers to take John Tonje away. But Tonje, for the longest time in that second half, didn't have a field goal attempt. Didn't even have a field goal attempt. And it's like, we got to find a way, right? At some point, and that's where my indiscretion comes with Greg Gard right now. Some point, you just have to find a way to get your playmakers the basketball and get them an open shot. Find a way, right? There's got to be a way.
Mhm.
I get UCLA adjusted, and they were adjusting to John Tonje, and they were adjusting this and that, and I get that. But then Blackwell started to go off. John Tonje should be able to find himself an open shot. He's got to be able to find it. You got to find a way to get John Tonje open for that shot. Get him a way to get downhill and get to the rim. Do those things. He had 24 points. That's fantastic. But when a guy's shooting the lights out like he was, find a way to get this guy the basketball and let him earn it. Let him earn a charity stripe, whatever he's going to do there. I just thought that he went through a stretch. I think it was like 12 minutes where he didn't have a shot attempt. You can't have that. You can't have that of a guy like John Tonje. Outside of that, I mean, John Blackwell had a good game. He had a good game. I thought last possession, Badgers had a chance. It was 82. It was 80 to 81, 80 to 81, 80 to 82. It was 82 to 80. That's what 82 to 80 is. Sound right? 83 to 81. I don't remember what it was. It was something close. Maybe it was like a 2-point game there. I'd have to look back here. But John Blackwell, he drove the paint there. And I mean, the Badgers got everything they wanted on that shot. It was right.
When he got into the lane and his shot got blocked.
Yes, 82
I think it was 82-80. Yeah.
Yep, 82-80. And the Badgers, I get a lot of people are like, Greg Gard called timeout. And yes, you could have called timeout. I agree. The Badgers got everything they wanted out of that play. John Tonje got downhill. He got to his sweet spot in the lane. The only thing that irritates me, and I think it's the growing pains that John Tonje, because he's a sophomore, we all have to remember he's a sophomore yet, what the growing pains he's going through. He didn't see the triple team come down on him because you had 2 guys in the paint in front of you. You had Klesmit's guy coming down on you over the top. If you turn to your left, John Tonje streaking towards the corner wide open because John Tonje's, I don't remember who's guarding him there, but he stopped in front of Blackwell. So John Tonje's running wide open. Straight behind you, Max Klesmit's standing wide open at the 3-point line. You have 2 guys wide open, and you force the jumper. Now, I'm not saying that the shot, I wouldn't have allowed it because it's like, I didn't hate the shot. I liked what he did. He got downhill. He got to his sweet spot where he's been money, and he was going to put the bucket up. I like that. But I think what he had to come to and it's with that growing, it's becoming more experience and getting into these big games and understanding the big games, was he didn't have to rush that shot. I thought he rushed it because there was 9 seconds. He was forcing it up like, we don't have time for me to make another pass. When in all reality, jump stop, see it, look, bam, John Tonje corner, Max Klesmit right behind you. I know it's easier said than done in the moment, right? He's in the moment. He's feeling himself. He's been having a good game. He was keeping you alive in this game. But I just feel like that was it. That was the one thing where I look back on. It's like, if he looks to his left and sees John Tonje going towards the corner. John Tonje's been feeling it, right? So get it to John Tonje in the corner. See Max Klesmit behind you. I just thought in that moment he was rushed. He felt rushed. He wasn't prepared for that. He wasn't prepared for that moment. He was in the zone. He was getting himself to his spot, but he was not playing unselfish basketball in that moment. He was trying to get the job done himself instead of what the Badgers do, and that's share the basketball. And I just thought that would be the one thing where I came away from this, and I was like, that was the one moment where I was like, dude, pass the basketball. Just get that baby out to John Tonje. Get it to Max Klesmit behind you. Let them do it. You kind of forced the shot there. I mean, the defense was right in front of him. I don't understand. In his head, it's like you see the guy, you know that he's a shot blocker. I think it was Sky Clark was the one in front of him, if I'm not mistaken there. Or no, it was William Kyle. There it is. William Kyle with the block there. But you saw him in front of you. You saw the double team. You got to realize the situation and pass it out. Easier said than done. I know he's going to learn from it. I know they're going to have that set later. At some point later on in the year, they're going to have that same kind of feeling, and they're going to get the job done. But, I mean, otherwise, I thought it was a hard-fought game. It was a good game. I thought it was a good game all the way around. Like I said, I wish the officiating would have stayed out of it a little bit there. But, I mean, you get what you get, right? Big Ten basketball, the Badgers. I mean, we know this was two good teams squaring off here in LA, go 1-1 on a West Coast road trip. I'm good with that. Now you come back home, take on Nebraska. Kyle, anything else you saw off this game where you're like, that kind of stuck out to me or anything like that?
Yeah, it was like two quick things. I know, got to move on. It's Mara, who, when I was watching it, and they put up the graphic that he averaged like 4 points a game. But if you did not know that and watched this game, you would think Mara was like some budding superstar. That
I don't get it.
They just have come up with
utilize them.
But it's just like, they used them in the post when he had smaller guys on him, which I think speaks to probably Wisconsin being a smaller team, because Mara's not the biggest guy, but he had height on whoever was guarding him. And then I saw big man kind of stretch the floor a couple of times, knock down a couple of threes, and I was just like, okay, that's interesting. I thought in the second half, when Wisconsin, who had the lead at the half and then lost it and was kind of back and forth, it seemed like at several key moments defensively, they lost track of certain players on UCLA that led to UCLA scoring a bucket and kind of extending the lead out a little bit or regaining the lead. And look, that can happen on the road. Like, as you mentioned the turnovers and everything. Like, turnovers at home, you kind of make up because your crowd's in it, they're making noise, and the road team can kind of lack the ability to capitalize on them. On the road, you have turnovers, they kill you, because all turnovers do is get their crowd into it, and then they're feeling really good about themselves. And that's what I noticed. It was like key moments, Wisconsin, the defenders would be too much of ball watching and then lose track of their man. UCLA would have a quick switch of the floor, cross court pass, and then another pass off of that, and they got kind of an open jumper. That's where Wisconsin, if they look back on this, they'll see like 4 or 5 kind of possessions where that happened. If they clean that up, they win this game.
Yep.
And the other stat that you did bring up, the 3-point shooting, Wisconsin outscored UCLA from 3 by 27. It's usually hard to lose a game like that when you shoot 50% from the field and as well as they shot from the line. But once again, the 13 turnovers counterbalance all of that. So, like you said, hard-fought game. Wisconsin should be fine, but it's definitely something that they can learn from early in the season.
Yeah, no, if you're a Badger fan coming off this game and you're like, we're screwed, I would quit being a Badger fan. Like, I don't know how you come off this game depressed about this team realistically. Yeah, I agree. I had it in my notes over here. I just noticed it too as you were talking about it. The rotations for the Badgers, getting out on shooters, their rotations were slow. And like you said, ball watching, they weren't getting back to guys. It was slow. Guys were getting open. Look at early in the game there, UCLA started out on a burner. And it was because Wisconsin wasn't getting out on their guys. They were slow. They were slow getting out there. It's like they were caught, like you said, staring off into the distance there. So I would 100% agree. Defensively, we've talked about it before. This Badger team has got to get a boatload better there. Turnovers are killers and continue to be killers for this Badger team. 13 is too much. 13 is too much. And it seemed like the turnovers were at crucial moments too, especially the ones in the second half. You were putting a run on, you turn the basketball over. It just kills momentum. It kills momentum. It gives UCLA all the momentum in the world back there. So, I mean, this Badger team, you clean up those few mistakes. This team, if you clean up the mistakes, they're hard to beat. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are out there. This is a hard Badger team to beat at this point here. When they shoot the free throws when they shoot the free throw line like they do, get to the line, knock down threes, this is a tough out for any team out there. And they got a tough stretch. I mean, they got Nebraska. They're going to have a little easier stretch there, but then they're going to take on Purdue, Illinois, Oregon, all back-to-back, Washington, and then Michigan State there. So they got a tough little stretch here coming up of Big Ten basketball. So we'll see. Nebraska coming up on Sunday. We'll get into that game here on Friday. We'll talk about that game on Friday here on the show, though. So we'll get into that one. Right now, We got to get over. Kyle, you got a fact of the day? You got a fact of the day for me real quick?
I do have a fact of the day.
Perfect.
And look, this is right up your alley.
All right.
So on this date, 1964, the world's largest cheese was manufactured. It weighed over 34,500 pounds.
Wow. What kind of cheese?
See, it doesn't say that.
That's what I want to know. That's what it
That-
was.
that's
Is it a
what I
waste
wanted
of
to know.
cheese? Like, is it a waste of cheese? Like, is it like blue cheese? Because then it's a waste of my time. Goat cheese, waste of my time, right? Swiss cheese, waste. But if it was like a nice Kobe Jack, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. Let's go there. I mean, that's some good cheese. We got to figure that one out. Maybe like a nice mozzarella. Oh, would that be good? Oh, man, would that be good?
I tried to find out because I was wondering the same thing. What kind of cheese are we talking here?
While we listen to Hunter, Hunter's going to give us our hockey report here. Kyle's going to figure out the cheese. So we're going to get to our hockey report. We're going to get to our ad break. We're going to come back here. We're going to wrap up the show here on the other side of the ad break. So we'll see you guys back here.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Badger hockey recap / little preview for the weekend ahead. Let's get right into it. Last Friday, the Wisconsin men's hockey team opened scoring against the Long Island University Sharks. Just 4 minutes and 3 seconds into the first period from a goal from Quinn Finley. LIU tied the game with 1:58 remaining in the first period, but Gavin Morrissey responded 50 seconds later to give Wisconsin a 2-1 lead, heading into the second period. 54 seconds into the middle frame, the Sharks tied the game again. Logan Hensler scored his first career goal with 10 minutes and 8 seconds left in the second period on a power play to reinstate Wisconsin's lead. 16 seconds later, Simon Tassi scored a second goal, his second goal of the season to extend the Badgers' lead. LIU made a 4-3 game 26 seconds into the third period, but Zach Schultz, with 16 minutes and 5 seconds left remaining, and Gavin Morrissey, with 10 minutes and 10 seconds remaining, each tallied another goal in the final 17 minutes of the game to give the Badgers a 6-3 victory. On Saturday night, goals from Quinn Finley, Sawyer Skull weren't enough to secure a regulation victory as Wisconsin men's team tied the Long Island University Sharks 2-2 at the Kohl Center. Despite the tie, the Badgers won an exhibition shootout with Christian Fitzgerald recording the shootout winning tally. Finley struck first for the Badgers at the 15-minute and 35-second mark in the first period. LIU tied the game 10 minutes and 46 seconds into the second period, into period 2, before Sawyer Skull gave UW its lead back just 12 minutes and 37 seconds into the frame. The Sharks then made a 2-2 contest with 3 minutes and 58 seconds remaining in the second. Neither team was able to score in the third period or in overtime. As the game officially ended, it was a 2-2 tie, but Tommy Scarfone made 3 saves, and Finley and Christian Fitzgerald lit the lamp to help the Badgers win an exhibition shootout. The Badgers play Michigan in Madison this weekend. And that Saturday night was just kind of another story, I feel like, the last couple of seasons. The Badgers, they're terrible in overtime. They really got to find something that works because clearly what they're doing is not working. Let's get on to the women's. On Friday night, the number 1 Wisconsin women's hockey team dominated St. Thomas with a 6-1 victory, thanks to senior captain Casey O'Brien and sophomore Cassie Hall, who each scored twice. Ava Murphy and Lila Edwards also found the net, extending the Badgers' unbeaten run to 11 games and keeping their perfect record against the Tommies. Wisconsin started strong, with O'Brien netting her first goal on the power play and adding another with a feed from Kristen Sims. Finishing the first period with a 2-1 lead, the first goal marked O'Brien's 50th point of the season, making her the first NCAA player to hit that milestone this year. In the second period, the Badgers continued their offensive surge, scoring twice in the first 5 minutes. Hall increased the lead with help from Kelly Gorbatko. I butchered that last name, I'm sorry. And Lacey Eden before Murphy scored her second of the season, putting Wisconsin up 4-1 after 2 periods. The third period saw Hall score again, followed by Edwards sealing the game with a final goal. Goalie Ava McNaughton was solid in the net, stopping 25 of 26 shots for her 22nd win of the season. Then on Saturday, Layla Edwards stole the show with a phenomenal 4-goal performance, leading Wisconsin to a 11-1 rout over St. Thomas. Edwards became the first Badger to record a natural hat trick since O'Brien did in 2021, and the first to score 4 goals since Cassie Hall did against Lindenwood in September of 2023. This weekend, the women's hockey team plays in Madison against the St. Cloud Huskies. So if you're in the Madison area or got nothing looking forward to this weekend, Saturday you got 2 hockey games in Madison. I'm not positive what times they start, but usually if the men's and women's both play on the same day, they usually start the women's a little earlier and the men's later at night, so people are able to catch both. And if you want to do that, it's going to be a great weekend of hockey, as always. And like I said, or I've said it plenty of times before, you got to go watch the Wisconsin women's hockey team. That's Wisconsin's #1 sport. I mean, we're a hockey school. But they don't get the recognition that they deserve like the men's basketball team does or the football. Go pay attention to Wisconsin women's hockey. It's quite fun to watch. And that's it for this week. I'll see you next week on Wisconsin.
This show is brought to you by these fantastic sponsors. Marshfield Motor Speedway, located 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great racing. I cannot think of a better way to spend a summer day or night than down at the track. Next is Sports Scene in Marshfield, Wisconsin, located at the Marshfield Mall. Get down there and see Al. He has everything you need, from sports cards, memorabilia, jerseys, model stock cars. He's got it all. Sports Scene in Marshfield. And then we have Peggy Sue Bestlick, Century 21. Do you want to find your dream home or maybe looking to sell your current property? Let Peggy Sue Bestlick at Century 21 help you with all of your housing or property needs.
It's a new year, Kyle. You got to buy, sell, get out of that clunker. That's what I always like to say. Call Peggy Sue. She'll get you there. That was great stuff from Hunter. Great stuff from Hunter there. Wisconsin hockey continues. Men's and women's continue to play well. I mean, I don't know what I would classify Wisconsin as a school at this point. Like, I've heard Wisconsin's a volleyball school. We're definitely not a football school at this point. We're definitely not a football school. Men's basketball, I could say. I will agree, though. I mean, the hockey team definitely doesn't get as much recognition, especially during the regular season, as what like men's basketball gets. And that's because you have a larger following for basketball than you got for hockey. And also, I mean, they make it hard to find hockey games. Like, I mean, you have to get Big Ten Plus to watch most hockey games. There's very few and far between occasions where I can scroll through my TV. Like right now, I'm watching YouTube TV here, and I got all 4 basketball games on at the same time. I can't do that for hockey. I can't watch, I can't watch all 4. I can't, most of the time, Big Ten Network doesn't have hockey games. So I would agree. Like, it's hard to get hockey games out there. But, Kyle, I did find the largest cheese.
I found it as well.
Did you find? Is it the cheddar one? You found the cheddar one?
Yep, the cheddar one at the Wisconsin World's Fair. Yep.
So now we know it was 32 feet long.
Yeah.
That is a large chunk of cheese right there. Like, how do you haul that? Like, how do you even
I mean,
how do you haul that son of a gun?
Picture I found, they're like hauling it on the back of a big truck with a long trailer. So I mean, it's a World's Fair. Like, that's where you find that kind of stuff.
That is awesome. Like, do you think they let people eat off of that when it was all? I see it. I got that picture now that you're talking about his large trailer there. World's largest cheese. I see that now. Holy crap! And they got it's like a glass windows around it too, so you can examine the cheese while it's sitting there. That's awesome. That is just absolutely awesome there. So, Kyle, let's get to one more. We gotta wrap it up with a intense question here.
Yeah.
What do we got to wrap it up here? Let's go with, all right, I got one for you. For the Packers, leading in this next season, this is going to be a quick one. You got to answer within 20 seconds. Who has the most pressure in this next season for the Green Bay Packers? Matt LaFleur or Jordan Love?
I would say Matt LaFleur. Because I think for him and the front office, I would get Jordan Love a #1 receiver. I think the wide receiver group is a good group, but I think what we've seen, Watson is always going to get hurt at some point every year. You would like for him to be your #1, but If you told me next year they went out and got receiver X, Watson was your 2, and then Reed and Dobbs were 3 and 4, that is a very dangerous wide receiver group. And in that division, you won 11 games this year. You expect the Lions to take a step back as they're losing coach after coach right now. And the Vikings, look, if you can predict them winning 14 games next year, go ahead and have at it. But you expect those 2 teams to fall back. If Green Bay is an 11-win team again next year, you are in the running to win that division. And I think they have to go get a number 1 wide receiver to do that.
I agree with you. That was longer than 20 seconds, Kyle. You screwed it up.
I know.
Longer than 20 seconds.
That's my bad. I'll be better next time. I'll be better next time.
It was a tough question. It was like a Jim Nantz, Tony Romo moment there. Like I was Tony Romo giving you this elaborate question, and you got to answer it within like 8 seconds before the TV cuts out. Like that's what it felt like right there. But I would agree. Just to wrap it up here, I would agree there. I think it's on Matt LaFleur. I do. I think it's on Matt LaFleur. I think, honestly, Jordan Love, he proved to us that he's got a little bit. Now it's on Matt LaFleur to try and play to Jordan Love's strengths. I think that's what he did in 2 seasons ago. This last season, I don't feel like he played to Jordan Love's strengths at all. I think he tried to utilize him in the wrong way. I did. I thought the play action game went away. I thought that, injury did not help Jordan Love at all, with the scrambling ability and everything like that. So I think it's on Matt LaFleur's next season to bring it all together. Be that leader in the locker room, bring it all together. But it's a big offseason, and Gutekunst said that, and we're going to talk more about that come Friday here on the show. But it's on Gutekunst too this offseason here. He's got cap space now. He's got money to spend. Go out there, make some trades, bring in some pieces. The window's open now. Open now. And that's going to be, and anybody who's watching right now, that's going to be the big thing we're going to talk about on Friday. The window is open now for the Green Bay Packers. It's not open in a couple of years. The money all starts coming in a couple of years with all these young guys. The window is open right now. It's what you're going to do with that window while it's open, and that's what we want to talk about Friday here on the show. So we will get to that Friday here. I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight here on the show. It was a great show. We got some exciting news coming soon. I got a meeting on Friday. And then we're going to have some exciting news coming Friday here. So hopefully I can announce that here on the show, but we'll see how it goes there. But I'm going to a meeting, and then we'll have that exciting news for you here on the show. So with that, for Kyle and myself, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you guys back here on Friday